Hi, everybody. So glad to see you here. When I was a teenage girl, I loved running and competing. I learned a couple of things about running. A sprinter can cover 400 meters in under 45 seconds, almost half a kilometer in less than a minute, while a marathoner can run 6 hours non-stop, keeping the tempo. Which of these traits you think are extremely important in current environment and to succeed in new business? Do you have any ideas? Just like, do you want to be a sprinter or a marathon? Any ideas? Okay, thanks. Running is certainly one of the threads that led me here. And today I had Borza. I lead Borza, previously known as VFast. It's a global intra-city delivery company operating in several countries, including India. For over 12 years, we've built a business that is driven by millions of people, regular people like you and me, that is driven by billions of transactions between people like you and me. And we should be like sprinters. We should catch any opportunity on the market and we should catch and be very just fast. While on the other hand, we should be like marathoners and we should pursue that stamina. And we should have that stamina to pursue our long term strategy. And what do we call a businesses that usually balance between being a sprinter, having long short sprints, and having long term vision like marathoners? Do you have any idea? What do we call such businesses? Okay, we call them startups. That's usually the startup culture. And after years of leading various organizations, small and big, global and local, I really believe in startup culture. I really believe that that is something that drives our energy, that drives the organization. And I have some stories to tell you from the history. Let's take Kodak. Kodak, a famous company, a photography company, in 1975, they introduced their first digital camera. But because of big corporate culture, they failed to develop it because they were very much afraid that it will kill their legacy business, film business. In late 90s, when the world was exploded by digital cameras, actually Kodak found themselves out of the market. They couldn't deliver that value. On the other hand, if you take Microsoft, which is also a giant, big company, almost a monopoly, yeah, but in 2014, they started to introduce their startup culture and they explored all opportunities on the market. And that's how they came into cloud computing and they stayed on the market. They actually delivered value. That's the lesson that I have learned from the greats. And that's actually the way that I am doing now in my company. I am taking Borsa We Fast on a transformational journey. We want to be like a startup. We want to act like a startup. And despite our long term, just long position on the market, yeah, we want to still act like a startup. Okay, I have a question to myself. What actually startup teaches us? And what lessons we have learned? The first lesson that we have is actually sense of urgency. In a startup culture, everything is urgent. Urgent to work, urgent to create, urgent to move forward. Urgency is actually an essential part of a startup. If you have a great idea, you have only now to do it. If you have an obstacle, you have only now to get rid of it. I have a story that I should tell you. Actually, in Borza, yeah, that's a delivery company. And some things might tend to go wrong because that's actually delivery. And we usually sometimes just we receive complaints from our clients. Complaints go to customer service, to customer support. And we had one client who gave us a complaint. Customer service did everything according to protocol. Then the client, the same client, came again with the same request. And again, the customer service did everything according to protocol that exists in the company. We got the third complaint from the same client. Same complaint, same client, but already the client put in CC management, including me. Client had a deja vu situation. He couldn't understand what was going on. So I made face-to-face meeting with my line managers, and we started to look at the complaint, what was wrong. And I understood that actually the customer support was right. They actually acted all according to protocol. But the problem was that the protocol didn't work. So the team didn't have that startup culture. They worked like a bureaucracy. They didn't feel that urgency to change something. And that is the first lesson that I learned, that actually you should have that sense of urgency. If something goes wrong, please stop it, change it, and do it in a different way. And leading by example is also the best thing that you can actually show to your team act as a startup. The other thing which just want to tell you is full accountability. In startup culture, full accountability is non-negotiable. There is nobody but you who can do it. There are no other departments, vague reasons, or whatever. It's actually you. Every individual and team should take full responsibility for problems and solve them. When a company grows, yeah, and our company grew, of course, we have much people, more departments, but we cannot accept any vague accountability. Let me give you an example. In Borza, we had low performing regions. When I looked at the reports, all metrics, operational metrics were fine. Everything was fine. And the team was telling me, Alina, this is the sluggishness of the market. So they gave me some vague reason and they actually shifted the responsibility and the accountability to some just, let's say, vague reasons. But when we started to deep dive, when we went to this region, when we talked to clients, when we talked to riders, I understood. Actually, the competitors were growing and the regions were growing, but we were not. We started to deep dive. We improved SLAs, we improved pricing. After 2 months, we started to grow in that region. The lesson that I have learned is the following: just you should be accountable for what you are doing, and you shouldn't point fingers. You should understand that it's you who should fix it. How do I promote accountability in the company? Because actually, my people know that each time I talk about that. First of all, I ask my people to accept that it's me who is accountable. It's me who should fix the problem. It's me who should find the solution and come with the solution. Of course, I would support, I would help, but I would prefer first to get some options how we can solve it. And I expect people to come with solutions. Point number 3, which I learned from startup culture and follow it. A sprint of marathons. I call it like this. In today's world, long-term planning is actually not valid. You cannot plan forever. You cannot predict what happens next. The world is so changing, but you need to be very quick and take very quick decisions. A startup growth strategy is about lean development. We do it in Borsa. We show it in iterative development. You get the idea, you run the experiment, you measure success, and you draw conclusions. Either you proceed or you stop it. And you do it time again and again and again. Yes, it's like a cycle. You do it in many cycles. Even the smartest giant now operate in this way. Let's take Amazon. Could they somehow develop their Amazon Prime or Amazon Fresh if they had that fancy long-term strategy? Never. We knew them in a totally different profile. And now they are doing that. That's another lesson that we have learned from the greats. And one more thing, which I actually want to tell you, it's switching off. Another feature, another skill that everybody should acquire. We have learned from the startup culture that we should have sense of urgency, full accountability, sprint of marathoners, which means just like you do those short sprints and you have endurance of marathons. And in such tempo, you might lose your personality. You can be burnt out. You might lose energy. And I want to share you a secret. I truly believe in the next 10 or 20 years, human energy will be the most valuable one. Before that, we had time. Now we can manage time. Time flies quickly. The other valuable thing that everybody should try to restore and generate, that's human energy, something that you cannot buy. And that's how I teach my people. Look at that wheel. That's my personal example. I created that wheel just showing all spheres of your life. Each sphere is very important, even if you're in business environment or whatever. Look at each sphere. Finance is important. Family is important. Your hobbies are important. Career is important. Personal growth is important. If you rate any part of this wheel, you will see how balanced your wheel is. And if the wheel is not balanced, it will be bumpy. You will not be able to just move that wheel and enjoy it. How can you balance it? Look at each sphere of your life and try to find at least one or two habits, actions that you might do to restore the balance of that wheel. And then you will succeed. And me, as a manager, as a leader of the organization, I should also think not about just like pushing people for full accountability, sense of urgency, but I should take care that they really their personalities at work and they are balanced. That's my own example, which I show my employees, and that's actually how I live. In my tough schedule, I have time for yoga and dancing. You might go on my Instagram and see. I really enjoy it. That's actually where I generate my energy. Okay, let's recap. To go through your life and business, you with energy of sprinter and endurance of marathoner, and to keep that startup culture, please follow the following principles. Cultivate mindset where you act swiftly. Urgency, yeah, that's something very important. Success doesn't come from pointing fingers. It only comes from taking full accountability. Accountability of your life, taking accountability of your life, family, business, whatever you do, and of yourself. The world moves fast. Break goals and break business and your life into short sprints and then convert them into long progress marathon. That's actually how the world acts now. Test, learn, and adapt. If something doesn't work, drop it. Switching off is a necessity. It's not luxury. It's going to be a very valuable necessity in next 20 years. And let me give you an example just to finish my story. I have an elder daughter. When she was at school, she was telling me, she's very confident, and she was telling me, I'm the best in the class. Actually, she was the best in the class. All teachers praised her. But I ask you a question. Are you the best from the best, or are you the best from the averages? And she was very considerate about that. One day offered her the following. I told her, let's go to 5 best schools in our city and take entrance exams, as if you are going just like to take entrance exams again and again. She took them. She came and told me, Mom, you know, I'm not the best from the best. I saw best kids. I saw best school students. I saw best teachers. I saw best schools. What can I do with that? Your choice. So next year we started in another school with different people, with different students, with different teachers. That's actually how life teaches us that we shouldn't stop. We should challenge ourselves if we are the best from the best and if we are competing versus the best. And we should always compare ourselves versus the best. And I want to tell you, let's create the thread of the future together. I am very thankful that I am here. Thank you.